Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight's guest is from Tāmaki Makaurau. Is originally from Manarua, Ruaha, but now resides in the GI in East Tāmaki, in East Auckland. And the man is an incredible talent. The man is an entrepreneur, he's a businessman, also has done many years working with our rangatai, our young people, but now he's doing even more stuff in terms of his mahi. He's helping others in terms of suicide prevention and so forth, but also the man is an incredible artist. His medium is carving, and so hopefully straight there I might have given it away. He's an amazing carver, but also he's an amazing husband and also an amazing father. And you know him on social media. He's a content creator as well. And so he goes by the name of JS Carving. Yes, the man is here tonight, an incredible, talented man, also known as, please put your hands together for Jim Stretton! Oh, also, Marlo, love it. Also, I think I kind of jumped the gun here, Jim. I got excited, and we started chatting straight away. Obviously, the work that you do, and also the medium, the carving. The carving. I know people know you on social media, and the content that you create on social media in terms of JS Carvings, and I don't know if people know your name, your real name, Jim Streton, and so also tell us, or maybe even before touching the carving. Also, for those who don't know who you are and probably thinking, who is JS Carving? What is JS Carving all about? Before JS Carving and before your artistic abilities, before we go to talk about that, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was Jim? Who was Jim growing up? But also, who was Jim and his whānau and his family in Ainga?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you so much, Betia, Caroline, Gideon, for the opportunity to be on the greatest podcast that I've ever seen in my life. You know, what a moment for me. And I think the reason why it's so special is being my first podcast ever. I know that it's not just me that I'm representing up here. It's my parents, my wife, my kids, and just all the people that have supported me. So this is a huge moment for me and for all of them. So we're so grateful to be here. And to talk about myself, I'm a very, very simple man. A lot of people see me as this hugely extroverted person because of my content creation and what I do online. But truthfully, very simple man. I just love being at home, love being with my family, love spending time with them. I'd take that over traveling, over, nights out any day of the week. So if there's a way that I could explain myself outside my business, I'm just incredibly proud to be a father to my two beautiful kids. My son's turning 4 soon. He's on the spectrum for autism, and we've been loving that journey too. My daughter's 2, going on 19. She's got the attitude of, I don't know what year she is, but man, her attitude is through the roof. It's keeping us on our toes. And my beautiful wife, Naomi, my business partner, my best friend, just so proud to be representing all of them. So grateful to be here. And outside, like I said, outside of my business, those are the things that are just hugely, hugely dear to my heart, my family, my friends, and my community. I love advocating for our Pacific people and just doing whatever I can do to support them.
Man, Mano love also. And so, Jim, because you do some amazing work. And the proof's in the pudding. Obviously, I've seen the work that you do, the art pieces and the carving, incredible also. And so maybe we could just run it back just a little bit, Jim, in terms of the earlier days before the carving also. For those who, just to give a bit of a backdrop in terms of who was Jim? What was Jim kind of growing up? Obviously, you were raised in Manarua, South Auckland. And so maybe just something in terms of the values that shaped you as Jim today.
Yeah, one thing that I've always understood from a young age is, man, I've been incredibly blessed. And when I say that, my mum and dad have always just raised us so beautifully. I got 2 siblings, my sister and my brother, and everything that we do, everything that we live by, who we are, it all got shaped from my parents. I'll never forget just one little story, and I think it captures who I am and what they've taught me. We were in Samoa for a trip. My mum's a deputy principal at Tahu College. She took us all on the trip. I was about 11 at the time, and it was really hot. I was dying in the heat. We got off the bus, and I went and bought me a Coke. I only had about $15. Then I came back on the bus, and when you get those looks from your parents, they don't say anything, but you stuffed up somehow, and they just went like this to me. I was like, oh my gosh. And they said, hey, if you're going to buy a Coke for yourself, you buy one for everyone on the bus, or you don't drink at all. Go enjoy your Coke. And that was the worst Coke I ever had in my life. Oh. The next time we got on the bus, I got all the money I had together, went and bought a drink for every single person, looked at my parents, and they just went like this. And they've always taught me from a young age that whatever we have, we give. Whatever you have, you share with others. So I've been incredibly blessed to just have the most beautiful values, I guess, exemplified from my parents from a very young age. And I've always understood that I'm so lucky to have these parents. And I guess it's just shaped the person I am today. Anything that I have, it's open to anyone else. If it's to support my family, any other money that we get from these carvings, it's for them. If I have knowledge that can help my community, then I'll freely give it to anyone. And that was all shaped from my parents. And yeah, sorry to talk about my business. You didn't even ask about that, but everything that they've done, that's shaped the way I run my business, the way I handle life, the way I talk to people. That all got shaped from my mum and dad, because they've just been just the greatest examples. And yeah, just very blessed to have them. So that's, I guess, shaped everything in who I am, how I act. Full credit to my parents, mum and dad. Love you guys.
Man, mano, love also. And shout out to your parents. Obviously, your parents are very well versed in terms of the education sector. Obviously, you just mentioned that mum is a deputy principal at Otahu College, and your dad was also in terms of education, in terms of our rangatahi and Te Kura. Was it Te Kura, hey?
Yeah, Te Kura Waipuna.
Yeah, and so also, because that sounds like it's like two powerhouses, man.
Yeah.
Two powerhouses. And so you kind of growing up and you kind of being part of this, and because I know you've done extensive work with rangatahi as well. So also tell us in terms of your parents, but also how did you kind of fall into the youth work as well? Was it just something that, you know what, it's part of the family package, we just get together, we just working with youth and education, or was it something like that you just aspired to because you saw your mum and dad do it?
Truthfully, my mum and dad always told me, don't go down that route, because it's a lot of work. I've seen my mum and dad work so hard. I mean, teaching might be from 9 to 5, but they're working some late nights, some real stressful jobs. So they would actually encourage us not to go down that route. But I think for me, as soon as I started realizing that I could actually add value to young people's lives, that I actually had something to say that could support them, when I really felt that, it was hard for me to kind of stray away from it. And I've done other jobs, and I've done things that can, make money. I've worked in places like Kiwi Rail, construction. I've even offered some good jobs, but I think always knowing that there's something that I could add, there's some value that I can add to support our young people, it was hard for me to run away from that. I don't know if it was my purpose or my destiny, but I guess I just really love seeing our young people thrive. And if there's anything that I can do to actually affect that, then yeah, then that's what I'm going to do. So I guess my parents definitely didn't influence that. They kind of, like I said, they try to stray us away from it because it's such a hard job. When you're investing into people's lives, the work never stops. Your hours might finish, but the work is always there, because if you have an opportunity to affect change, you can't stop. So yeah, that's why they kind of try to stray us away from it, because they know how hard their lives have been. But I guess I just couldn't run. Just had to follow the family business.
Man, it's interesting, Jim, because sometimes you think, oh no, that's mum and dad. Because sometimes you have doctors. Like for example, you get a doctor, mum and dad's a doctor, and then they say, oh, you know what, you're going to be a doctor. Everyone in this family are going to be doctors, or lawyers, whatever it is. And then you kind of happen to and it wasn't forced on you. You said, you know what, it's just something that I just want to pursue, I want to do. And so in terms of our young people, because at rangatahi, there's a lot of things that are happening. Obviously, people say, oh, well, this is probably, this generation is harder than the last generation, so forth. Obviously, every generation is very different. But what's your approach? What's your approach in terms of connecting with our young people? Because of the work that you've done and the work that you're still doing in your business, how do you connect with these young people? And what's your approach? What do you do that's different from, you say, from other youth workers?
I definitely don't think I'm the most amazing person out there, but I think the secret for me is just to be authentic. If you're going into this line of work, and if you're going to try and affect change for people, and you're putting on the front, it's never going to work. And I've worked with people that try and put it on, and then they turn it off. But it has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. Our young people, they can sense it. They know if you're really about it. It's easy to talk and say, if there's anything you need, we got you. It's another thing to actually live it out and mean it. So I would say my secret to anyone who's actually thinking about going into that line of work is it has to be real. It has to be in here. And if it's not, there's nothing wrong with finding a different job. But if you're in a job that's going to affect change, or has the opportunity to affect change, and you're just there for a paycheck, I would encourage you to find a different job and get that paycheck, but don't waste that opportunity that you could actually really use to support those young people genuinely. So yeah, that's my genuine advice is you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to have all these different degrees. I've seen many people who have multiple degrees and they're not right for the job because it has to be in here. So yeah, I'd say it's got to be genuine. It's got to be authentic, because if it's not, man, that passion can only last so long.
Yeah.
And then it's going to start feeding into the work that you do, and people can feel it. And it even starts rubbing off on the wider team. You can tell when people don't want to be there. And it's not good for anyone. It's not good for our young people. It's not good for the other people working there. So it's got to be real.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree also. And I agree in terms of the sense of you can't fake it out.
No, not on that line of work. No.
Our young people know straight away. They can sniff it out straight away. Like, oh man, and you do this. Hey guys, and hey, let's just get together. But really, in the back of your mind, like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Or I just want to get king of these. Or I just want to get rid of this. And so, in terms of obviously, we're going down this path of talking of young people, but because I'm really interested, because I know I've done a lot of work with young people as well.
Yep.
And also, so just for yourself, because how do you unlock? Because you hear it all the time. People say, potential, there's potential here and that. But how do you unlock, in terms of you, in your own words, how do you kind of unlock the potential in some of these young people, but more so our young men?
Man, that's a really good question. And that's something that I've been kind of working towards for a long time now. And what I've figured out is that our young people, they're very sick of hearing that they can do anything. They're sick of us telling them, you can do whatever you want if you just believe. You have all the potential if you just go out there and work hard. They're tired of hearing that. What they need now is for people to actually show them. They need people like us who think like us, who have talked like they do, who have lived the way they've lived, who think the way they think. They need people like that to actually rise up and show them how to do it. That's why I'm working so hard. Part of my business, 100%, the core of it, is to support my family. But then the other part of it that's really big as well is I genuinely want to be just an example to our young people. Not just to talk about it, not just to say, hey, you guys can do it, but to show them, hey, this is what I'm doing. You can do it too. These were my circumstances growing up, same as yours. So why can't you do it? So they're sick. I swear they're sick of hearing us just say that they can do it. They need us to show them. And the good thing about our people is we want to take people with us. But if we don't get into those spaces, we can't bring them along. So it's very hard, but we got to get into those spaces ourselves first. It's a thing that I call spatial awareness. It's hard to tell a young Pacific person, that they can be a doctor. They've never seen anyone in their family become a doctor. It's hard to tell a young person that they can be a successful business owner. There's no successful business owners in their family. So that space is not really real to them. So the more that our people actually get into those spaces, the more realistic it's going to be for our young people. So I think for me, that's the key. We want them to actually get there. We got to get there ourselves first, and then bring them along.
Good advice also. And yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of young people, and people say, hey man, you got the gift, you got potential and all that kind of stuff, and you can do this and that, and a lot of encouraging words, or a lot of not enticing words, but kind of words that kind of what's that new saying now? Kind of glazing them. Hey, you can do this. You this and that, and you can't be saying those things. And I do believe this. You can't be saying those things if you're not working it out yourself.
100%.
Yeah, because they go, so you're saying this and that, but what are you doing?
Yep.
And so resilience.
100%.
Yeah, resilience. And you hear it all the time also, because I've talked to resilience with some of the young people. I say, hey, resilience. And for some young people, resilience could mean absolutely something different.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? And so I'm thinking, and it's interesting that sometimes resilience can be a word that's just kind of thrown in the mix, like, oh, just be resilient, push through. What is it? And so for you and the people that you work with, and also in your business as well, also, what does resilience look like for you? So, and what is, and how do you kind of push through, not only with the work that you're doing right now, but also the business and those hardships in terms of family and so forth?
Yeah, resilience is the number one key to, I think, success. And for me, resilience happens when the motivation wears out. A lot of people, they get really hyped to do something. They get motivated. But once that motivation wears out, can you keep going then? And I think that's where resilience really builds up. When you're tired, when you don't feel like doing it, can you keep going? And for me, like, I work 2 jobs. It's not easy. I love what I do, but man, it gets pretty tiring doing this line of work and then coming home and then working on the business. We got carving orders that we got to manually carve out. We might get 10 orders and that's great, but then we got to carve out 10 orders, and where you going to find the time? Also trying to build up our Instagram page. That takes time too. Also need to be a present father to my kids. That takes time too. Also got to be a husband to my wife. So when all of that happens, can you keep going? Because that's when the motivation really wears out. And then there's times where you're sick. You don't, when you're running a business, you can't call up someone else. You can't call in sick. That deadline is still due. Can you keep going then? For me, that's, I think, the recipe for my success for my business is every time we've gone through that, we keep going. Every time we get sick of doing it, we keep going. Every time we're sick, we still get the work done. We've never, ever not given if someone's ordered a piece, we've never not come through. Even if we're sick, there was a time I hurt my wrist, had a crack in my thumb, but I had 3 orders due the next week. Had to get it done. Almost for that 3 weeks, we kind of figured out a new way to carve, and so that the quality still remained and that our integrity was still intact. But that's the key to it. If you're not resilient enough to get through it in the hard times, then you don't really have a good shot, because everyone gets hyped up, everyone gets motivated. But can you keep going when the motivation disappears?
Man, that's true. So I think a lot of people get excited.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people, and you would agree. Oh, maybe you might disagree, but a lot of people get caught up with the hype, and they see that, oh man. And then they're probably looking at this, oh man, if Jim can do this, oh man, I can do this as well. But and I always say this to those who come and to our guests, because I know they've done the hard work. They've put in the work. And then people who maybe watching or listening, and then you hear it sometimes. People think, oh, if he can do it, I can do a better job. I can do that. Without realizing, hey, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. They're looking at the end product, and they're not saying, hey, the sweat, tears, and blood that you have to do, like you said, you just mentioned your thumb. Yeah. And you still have to get up and do it. And you're the owner, you're the business owner. You can't go, oh, listen, I need a day off. You can't bring up yourself again. Hey, Jim, I'm sick.
Yeah. Can you reschedule your guys' birthdays?
Yeah, well, exactly. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And so obviously you must have an amazing wife.
Oh, I talked about resilience being the key to success. Nah, having an amazing wife is even greater than that.
Yeah.
She's my business partner. She's my everything. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I didn't have the most supportive wife in the world. I mean, that's a lot of hours away, working a full-time job. I mean, we travel for our job as well. Then coming home and then working till midnight, sometimes past midnight, just to get the work done. That causes a lot of extra work for my wife and for my my little sister as well. There's so many times that we're both busy. My wife's a full-time student, and she works as well, and she takes care of our babies. So sometimes she's busy as well. And then that's where our little sister, my wife's little sister, Belia, comes in, and she'll take the reins and look after our kids. So, and I feel for them. Yeah, I know it weighs a lot on them too. So I can't take any of this credit for our business success solely on me, because it's taken a village to get where we are. But the number one support for me has definitely been my wife. I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world just to have that key person next to you. If you have one person, and if they're your partner next to you that believes in you, that backs you, it's hard for anyone to really stop you, eh? So yeah, love you.
Man, awesome. What's your wife's name? The lovely wife, Naomi.
Naomi, she was the Miss Samoan 2016. She's just one story about my wife, just to really, I guess, exemplify the kind of person that I've been motivated by. I'll never forget, it was about 4 years ago, my wife was heavily pregnant, and she was going to work, and she asked me, hey, do you mind dropping me off to work? Truthfully, I was feeling sorry for myself. I was like, man, babe, I got 3 orders due. Tomorrow I got to carve it out. And she was like, I know, but please, I'm not feeling well. Can you drop me off? I was like, okay. Dropped her off, came back home, continued carving. Then she said, hey, I finish at this time, about 5 o'clock, went and picked her up, came back home, continued carving. And I was sitting there genuinely feeling sorry for myself, thinking, man, I'm really tired and I just need a rest, but I got to get it done. And in the midst of that, I saw my wife, and she was cooking a meal. And I was wondering what she was doing. She was cooking it for her dad. Then she came up to me, heavily pregnant, and said, "Are you hungry?" And I was just leveled. I was like, look at my wife, heavily pregnant, went to work, came back, and she's asking me if I'm hungry. That's the type of person that I'm married to. And if you can find a significant other that will do that for you, yeah, then you got a good shot.
And plus, he's Miss Samoa as well.
Oh, it's very beautiful. That helps. That very helps. You know.
Miss Samoa.
Most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
My man. Hey, also, man, you get some good brownie points, man. And you know what's so cool, Jim, because you are very humble. From the onset, I met you a few weeks ago, or probably a few months ago also, and also very, very humble, very genuine, but also got a very, very good heart. I can kind of gauge that also. And so also you mentioned early on about Samoa, your parents are saying in the drink on the bus, and because people are looking at you like, hey, is he Samoan? Is he Samoan? Is he Streton? This a Palagi name. I know you're from the villages of Samoa. What's the other two?
Iva, Salelonga, Lotofanga, Alepaka.
Man, so tell us also, because people are looking at, wait a minute, is he Samoan?
Was he a colonizer?
Is he a colonizer? Is he Palagi? So explain to us. Obviously, your Samoan roots. You're very proud of your Samoan roots, but also the other side of Jim, the Streton. Obviously, I'm assuming English or German or
all of that European. So I'm half Samoan, half European, and like I'm incredibly blessed because I know a lot of our Pacific young people right now. They're facing that cultural identity crisis. They don't know where they fit. They don't feel connected to their Pacific world. They don't feel connected to their New Zealand world that they live in. And so they feel a disconnect. And that's not good for their mental health and well-being. Luckily for me, I saw the best of both worlds. I've been incredibly supported by my Palagi side. I've experienced nothing but good from my dad and from my dad's side of the family. And then I've also seen the beauty of the Samoan culture from my mum's side. And being Palagi, I think it was a bonus. Every time I tried to do something, even if I'd stuff it up, it would make the whole family laugh. And so I loved that. It didn't discourage me to try and get connected with my culture. It actually encouraged me because I saw how much the elders loved it. And they saw this Palagi boy just at least giving it a go. So I was very lucky that culture, both sides of my culture, were a benefit to me. I didn't see it as a negative. It really kind of shaped who I was in a beneficial way. And I know a lot of our young people aren't experiencing that right now. They don't feel the benefits of being Pacifica. They don't see the benefits of living in those two worlds. They see the struggles. So yeah, I'm very lucky that I saw both those sides growing up, and I see the value of embracing both sides of my culture.
Yeah, it's awesome also, because often you have Samoan, half Palagi, Afakasi.
Yep.
You hear the Afakasi. And for some Afakasi, like, you might have a different experience in terms of,
100%.
Yeah, so was there ever a time also? Because I want to ask this, because I've heard other Afakasis, they come, I don't like the word Afakasi, or, I'm not white enough to be hanging out with my Palagi friends, or I'm not brown enough to hang out with my island or Pacifica friends. Were there ever instances like that when you were growing up, especially in the hood in Rua?
Truthfully, nah. I was even though when I was at St. Paul's, full of islanders, people call me white bum all the time and stuff. But it's not because I was white that they were being like that. It's just because our culture, we love to joke around, we love to mock. So I felt more connected being mocked for that. So like I said, I've been very lucky that I've experienced just the beauty of both sides as opposed to the challenges. And I know the challenges are real. I know a lot of people don't feel connected, and my heart goes out to them. But because of who my parents are, they really shaped us to believe and understand the value of both sides. Even though I don't fully understand the language, all I've ever seen is my parents like getting us involved in our culture. Always been a part of Polyfest. Anytime my mum has a, Fight Love Love, she's always bringing us along. So we've always been involved and we've always understood the value of it. Even though we don't truly understand every single part of it, we understand the essence and the value. So like I said, I can't speak highly enough of my family and my parents who have just raised us so well. And I didn't understand that until I became a father myself. Just how much of an amazing job they did.
Man, awesome also. It is. I appreciate it because it seems like you, obviously it sounds like you had a rich childhood growing up, and even though you're Afakasi, it seems like it didn't matter in terms of identity, and you kind of really know who you are as an individual, and that's quite very that's refreshing because sometimes often you hear, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, I don't know, and then the cultural roots and identity and so forth, and there's always a bit of a struggle of knowing who you are, what you stand for, and all that. And so, Jim, who is Jim in terms of the Afakasiness? Who is Jim as a whole package?
I'm just honestly, I'm a very simple man. I'm just doing my best to support my people, and if that means using my cultural experiences, then that's what I'm going to use. So anything that I have, any of my experiences, I'm just going to use that to support my people. So who is Jim? He's a Samoan, he's a Palagi, he's a man just trying to serve his family and serve his people. I think the greatest honor for me, still that I chase every single day, is just to make my parents proud. I know a lot of people, they want to do that while they're at school, and then it's almost like once they leave school, they kind of, it ends for them. Oh, I can't get a scholarship to make them proud anymore, can't do what. Man, you really can. And for me, I'm still chasing that every single day. I had my first carving exhibition not long ago, and I was just so happy because I knew how proud my parents were. We made it on the news for the first time a couple of months ago, and I was just so over the moon because I knew it was making my parents proud. So I'm a simple man. Who is Jim? He's just a man trying to serve his people, provide for his family, and make his parents proud. That's as simple as I can explain who I am.
Awesome. It is. You sound like you're very, very family orientated, family man. You mentioned your kids, and I know you mentioned early on during the introduction as well, you were saying that your kids, or your son, one of your sons, is it? It has autism.
Yep.
And I know you're part of the amazing group of the fathers
Yep.
with autism, and shout out to Jordan and the
Hello, Jordan.
all the team who did some amazing work at what's the
ASD dads.
ASD
Yep.
dads, yeah. Props to them also. And so also, what's it been like having a child with autism? And is it what people kind of feel, or what people kind of perceive, or is it like just the total opposite?
Truthfully, our experience has been challenging, yes, but beautiful. And I think once we finally understood that, yes, our son has autism, but it's not a bad thing. Like we had a family camp the other day, and it's like, I'm not speaking anything bad on my family, but we all had to introduce ourselves and talk about our kids and who we are. And I told everyone, my son's got autism, and everyone said, oh. And I was like, don't worry, it's fine. Like, we're blessed with who our son is. And if you were to ask me genuinely, would we change our son to make him, I guess, normal? The answer would be no, because we love who our son is. We think he's a gift, and if that means he has autism, then that's beautiful. We just have to shape our minds to understand maybe he's not going to be what we want him to be or what we expected. Because truthfully, I think when I found out I was having a son, I got excited at the thought of, I'm going to take my son to training, I'm going to teach him how to box, I'm going to play league with him, I'm going to do all these things. But then when you realize your son's autistic and he might have no interest in that, just understanding, okay, my desires or my, I guess, what I wanted him to be is not going to be that, but that's not a problem. Whatever he's going to be, I'm just going to support that. Whatever he turns out to be, as long as he knows that mum and dad are supporting him every step of the way, then that's all that matters. So we've been very lucky. And a lot of this I learned through the ASD dad workshops. So I'm so grateful for Jordan for setting that up for dads, because, you know, our fathers, our dads, we don't have many spaces like that. And I love the way he set it up too, because if you just bring a group of men together and, you know, like you see in the movies and everyone's sitting around, that's not going to work. I would run away as soon as I sat in that chair if everyone was in the room and they just said, talk about your feelings. Oh, far out. It's not really, I don't know any real fathers that would actually feel comfortable doing that. So the way that he set up the ASD dad programs is, what are some initiatives or what are some things that dads actually enjoy doing that we could use to connect with one another? And that's why he set up that wellbeing workshop, that carving wellbeing workshop that he got me to come in, teach the parents how to carve, and that naturally started bringing everyone together. So instead of just bringing people together and saying, okay, sit in the circle and talk to one another, and this is your community, it'll be a bit awkward, he set up these certain things for our kids and also for the parents so that we can build a community. And that community is one of the biggest protective factors for parents with kids that are on the spectrum. Just knowing that people understand what you're going through, knowing people understand the challenges that the outside world can bring, and also understanding how to think about autism better instead of it being a negative thing. It's a positive thing. That all started with the ASD Dads program for me. So incredibly blessed that there's support out there. And yeah, I'm really excited for the journey that my son is on and that we're on as parents. My daughter is actually harder to look after than my son. So a lot of people say, is it tough? Yeah, it's tough, but just being a parent is tough. And my daughter right now she's a lot harder than my son, even though my son's on the spectrum.
Wow, man. It is. I like it that there's a lot of support out there, and I love it what Jordan and the team, you guys are doing in terms of educating other parents, because it can be quite hard for some people in terms of people thinking, oh, you're in the spectrum and you're a poor kid, and like you were saying, you went to your family reunion, they they feel bad for you and all that kind of stuff. And I can relate to that 100%. Also, I have a daughter with Down syndrome, and so same thing, man. Same thing in terms of aspirations, man. She's gonna do this, and that. Man, these are the goals I have for her. And so those kind of things kind of were squashed from the get go. Oh gosh, but you're right. Absolutely, what you said. You said I wouldn't change it for the world. If I had to do it all over again, she's perfect, or he's perfect as he is. And what's your boy's name? Is it Jim?
Yeah, Jim Streton. So my full name Jim Streton, and my son's name Jim Streton.
And your name after your dad as well?
Yeah, and my dad's Jim. So yeah, got some very small shoes to fill. So he's all good.
Bro, that's cool. So I love it. I love it because it is. I think when you have kids, and often people think that you look at people with disabilities, and I often think, man, sometimes they're not the ones who are disabled also. What are your thoughts? Because sometimes I think it's the normal people that per se are the ones. Man, sometimes we carry a lot of our own disabilities.
Man. So many people that have autism, they can't lie. What a beauty! Like, how beautiful is that? Like, I mean, if they're bored, this is boring. Or if you smell. It's like shucks. Whereas a lot of other people, like, they don't know how to lie. It's like, that's a beautiful thing.
So you think, just lie. Oh, bro, and so he just turned what?
He's turning 4 July the 3rd. If I'm wrong, my wife's gonna give it to me, but I think it's that. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh man, and obviously parenting and so forth. You and your wife, Naomi, and your beautiful kids. Also, the business. How did it come kind of unravel? How did it unfold when you decided? Like, when was it kind of like the fighting moment? Like, you know what? I'm good at carving. This is my art form. I'm great at this. This is a talent I have. Let's turn this into a business.
It all started with my dad, and I think I just think it's quite ironic that my dad, who's full Palagi, is the one who actually inspired me to carve. So he carved a lot through his life. When he started at Teachers Training College, he helped carve the marae that's there called Tūtahi Tonu. And I used to love going to the marae and seeing this amazing just po that he carved out. And the story behind it, every time he got to tell that story, I was just captivated. I remember just seeing him at home carve this little walking stick. I just thought it was so beautiful, so powerful. So the first time I picked up a chisel, I think all of those experiences just really resonated with that one moment. And it started not through a means to try and make money. I remember I just loved to carve. I felt so connected to my dad, felt so connected to my culture, and it was so therapeutic. It felt like so much healing to me. A lot of times I have so much noise in my head, and every time I carve, everything just quiets down, and I love seeing something come to life. So when it started to become a business was when a few of my friends were turning 21, and I was like, can I carve a free 21st key for you? Because they were like, I don't have one. I was like, can I carve a free one for you? They're like, yeah, for sure. And they were pretty, I probably wouldn't put it up on my Instagram because people would be like, wow, that's how it first started, eh? Yeah, those first few ones that I did were terrible, but they were for free, so my friends weren't complaining. And then after I think the third or fourth one, I kind of understood from all those early mistakes that I made. I understood, okay, if I do it this way, it's going to take a long time. If I do it this way, it's not going to turn out too effective. And if I do it this way, it might look ugly. And if I didn't do those first ones for free, I would have never understood how to do it correctly. And then when I finally started to figure out how to do it well, I was still doing them for free. But people at the birthdays that I was at started to ask, who made that 21st key? And they would point to me And then they'd come up and ask me, oh, we got a birthday coming up. Do you mind if you do a 21st key for me? And we didn't have social media for, I think, the first 5 years of doing this. It was purely just by word of mouth. And for a long time, we were selling these 21st keys for about $50, $100, because we just didn't know how to price our work. We didn't know how to value it. And we would spend about maybe a week, sometimes 2 weeks, carving these pieces and then get $100 for it. And I'm thinking, fire, I'm doing all right. But to reflect, I think we needed that time to really shape all the designs that we would then go on to put in our portfolio, to also just get our reps up. A lot of times in business, you just need to get your reps up. You need to understand what to do, how to do it, and you can't do that unless you really plant yourself in that space and just put a lot of hours in it. I think it takes about 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. So if you really want to be a successful business owner, you got to put a lot more hours in it than that. So that groundwork really set us up and started teaching us the foundations on how to carve. And if you were to ask me then if I'd ever be selling pieces for over $1,000, I would, you're having a laugh. If I'd ever have an exhibition, I would be like, nah. If I'd ever be on the news or on a podcast talking about my work, I would have never believed it. It started as just a passion, and then it grew into something that I could actually use to support my family. You know, getting $100 that I never had before, that was pretty amazing to me. If I'm able to work a full-time job and then get an extra couple of $100 a week, far out, that's awesome. But then I think just a couple of years ago, once we started to really put ourselves out there on social media, we started to see some exponential growth. Couldn't believe people from all over the world started contacting us saying, we love your work, how do we order a piece? Now we have pieces all the way in Japan, Europe, Seattle, California, Alaska. If you had asked me if our pieces would be all over the world a long time ago, I would have said no chance. And even like to this day, we're still working on some real massive projects that we never thought we would get to. All we understood is that we just had to work hard and continue to just serve our family. And through that, it's opened us up into a door that we never thought would be in. And we're still amazed. We still kick ourselves. The fact that we get people on the street recognizing us saying, hey, you're JS Carvings. I'm like, yeah, I am. People asking us for photos. People from all over the Pacific messaging us every single day, asking us for tips on how to carve or if they can order a piece. And we've done this with no website. I mean, we had no resources. We never thought it would get this big. So we were happy to just do all of our orders just through Instagram message or Facebook message. But now it's getting a bit out of our hands. So we're actually starting to explore getting a website. But we've been able to do all of this simply through hard work and belief. Man. No resources, no money, no capital. I mean, a lot of people said they thought we were rich growing up, but nah. My dad worked 3 jobs just to put food on the table. That was 3 jobs, 7 days a week. So that's all I've ever seen growing up. So hard work to me, it's hard, but it's nothing new. That's all I've ever seen from my mum and my dad. And it's funny that I talk about my dad because the hardest worker that I've actually ever seen is my mum. I can talk about my dad easily because I can relate to him so much, but I can't relate to my mum. I can't relate to what she does, what she does every single day, still to this day. Like, man, how do you do that? So, and I can't talk about it because I get really emotional because I'm just so grateful for everything she does, not just for me, but for all of our family. But because I've had leaders like that shape me and mold me, that's been the biggest influence on our business. Just working hard, putting in the hours, and then these doors that we never knew existed have opened up to us, and we're just going through them.
Man, also, man, that's incredible, also. And so, isn't it interesting when you find your passion or your talent? What's it saying again, Jim? I hear it time and time again. People say, your talent will take you places, or your gift will take you places, or what? Yeah, well, I'm kind of rephrasing that quote. But it seems like it's because you're gifted in this area of carving, and you just said, "Hey, I never imagined in my wildest imagination that I'll be doing this." It started off and just as a, just an idea, just something for my friend, 21st birthday, and it's kind of unfolded and just unraveled from there. Yep. And you're right, you're absolutely right in terms of refinement. You always as an artist of any kind of form of medium, you always have to refine. Yep. You're refining your craft and working on your craft, and making it and just learning every time you do it. And it seems like you've obviously you put in the reps, and people around the world are seeing this. And It's incredible. It's incredible because you're thinking, I'm sitting here, New Zealand, and then people across the world are saying, can I get a piece? Can you do me a piece?
Yeah.
And then what's so funny also is that you said, oh, I'll give $50 or $100. And often that's the case, eh? That's the case when you're like, if you're an artist, that's the case, like, oh, how do I price this?
Yeah.
What's the worth of the value and so forth? And you start off $50 and now you're saying thousands in the thousands?
In the thousands, yeah. There's some projects that we've done in the tens of thousands. And I honestly only say that because our people need to understand that there's value in this.
Man.
If you put in the work and if you put in the hours, I guarantee you the doors that you never knew existed will open up to you. Just the other week, I met with someone from a multi-million-dollar organization, just exploring possibilities. Will it lead to anything? I have no idea. But if it does, then that'll be a game changer.
Man, awesome, man.
And I honestly think a lot of people think that I'm really talented, but truthfully, I'm not even good at drawing. A lot of people don't believe that. Anytime I run these carving workshops, I tell them I actually suck at drawing. I've just figured out a process on how to do it and how to make it look effective. And people still don't believe me until I take them through how to design their patterns, the way that I do it, and how to carve. And then they realize, shucks, if you actually just put in the time to get good at it, anyone can do it. And that's why I genuinely say, if anyone wants to do this, anyone can, but it will only take 20 years. It might take 15 years, it might take 10 years. But when it comes to carving, for me, carving's been like driving. The more time you actually put into doing it, the better you get at it. So I'm not a talented drawer. I was never that good at art. Many people at school, when we did carving, were a lot better than me. But I think just because I loved it so much and dedicated so many hours to it, we got quite good at it. So if anyone is interested in it, or not even just carving, anything that you're really interested in, if you put in 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 hours of work, I guarantee you'll become an expert in that, a master in that, and these doors that you never knew existed will open up to you. But you have to be willing to go through it when no one's looking. I mean, just last night, I was carving till about midnight, and no one sees that. But that's what it takes when no one's hyping you up, when you're tired, that's when it really counts. That's when you can really set yourself apart from other people who might have similar aspirations, but genuinely don't want to put in the work. You put in the work when no one's looking, consistently over time, you got a shot.
It's good, man. It's good advice as well. Yeah, I can't wait because there's a nice space over there for on my wall.
10,000.
but it is. I sit here also because it is. There's obviously a lot of guests come in and they share their stories, and I'm always amazed about their stories and so forth. And it is. I'm just amazed as well because. Likewise, with your story, you come and you just started. You said you've been carving for at least 20 years. 20 years,
long time
as a youngster carving, and then all of a sudden you say, you know what, I'll just give this a go, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I can actually get paid doing this, and not just get paid because I'm just doing it as a job. It's a passion. Yeah, I love doing this, but why not? And so it's not even like work; it's like play sometimes. But obviously it is work when people are paying and there's the deadlines and so forth. And so I'm imagining, because you're saying it's the growth is just accelerated. And so how do you deal with that now? How are you doing with all the business side of things now in terms of, okay, how do I deal with this order and that order? Are you thinking of expanding, or are you thinking about scaling your business?
100%. The last thing I want to do is when I pass away, if the business dies, I'd love to be able to pass it down to, even if my kids don't like it, just to someone or a group of people who want to keep this tradition alive. I believe there is and that's not for a financial purpose. That's because I believe that there is just so much power in our indigenous knowledge, so much power in our indigenous practices, yet we have very few opportunities to really embrace that here in New Zealand. I still kick myself, but every single day, I get people from all over the Pacific messaging me, asking me for advice on how to carve. Now, if you look at our people here in Aotearoa, Indigenous Māori, they're doing a fantastic job. They have so many amazing carvers from each tribe. They have their own styles of carving, own wood that they carve, and they even have carving schools that you can go to if you're Māori. For Pacific, we don't really have that, especially here in New Zealand. I mean, the fact that I'm getting people from Fiji, Cook Islands, Niue, Samoa, actually half caste in New Zealand for tips on how to carve, it really shows the decline in carving for our Pacific people. So if I can do my part in just revitalizing that knowledge, I think there'll be so much power for our people. It will be good for our well-being and our mental health beneficially. The more we can connect with our culture and our indigenous ways, the way our people did, the better it is for us. And carving in particular, I think it's just such a powerful therapeutic medium. And if we can find ways to monetize that too, then that's amazing too. If we can support our families through this, then that's incredible. I now run carving workshops all over in NZ, and I love sharing with people that whatever you want to do with this gift, like, you have my blessing. A lot of people say, oh, am I allowed to go and sell this because this is your business? I say 100%. If you can make any money for your family doing this, then please go and do that. If it's a therapeutic purpose for you, then do it for therapy. But if you want to actually make something out of this, I don't own these patterns. I don't own this knowledge. This is for you to do whatever you want. If I can support you to do that, I'm going to support that. There's room at this table for all of us to eat. I think in terms of Pacific business in New Zealand, I think it's less than 1.5% of Pacific business owners in New Zealand. And of that 1.5%, very few of us are artists. And then of those artists, very few of us are actually successfully financially. So I always say, man, whatever you can do to support your family through this medium, you do it. If I can pass this knowledge on for other people to, just better their well-being, better their outcomes, then, that's the goal for me.
Yeah, that's good also.
Yeah.
Because often at times they age, because some people are like, oh my, this is my business. This is my gift. This is So when people come in, no, you can't. This is my IP. You can't touch this. You go outside those doors, and then I'm gonna make sure you pay the royalties and so forth. Yeah. And so I like it. That's your attitude in terms of, whatever you do here, you go, you take it. It's a talent. It's a gift. Whatever you learn from it, and you spread your wings and so forth. And so, has ever been a time when? Because it seems it's quite popular now, Jim.
Yeah.
I see some other carving or carvers popping out of the woodworks. Have there ever been times when, because we're human, also. Because you see, a real nice guy, Jim, and I'm sure you would be thinking, hey, man, because I can't even imagine you being angry at something or getting
Talk to my wife,
or just like really like, man, because you still look such a nice guy, Jim. Has there been times where you, like, besides the art or business, where you kind of like, man, the angry Jim, because the Jim was like, man, hey, wait a minute, I need to be the Jim who's kind of in the conflict or kind of resolving issues and so forth. Where's that Jim coming? Does he come in now and then, or is just
too many times?
Or do we get the hey, Jim's is just a nice guy, or is it Jim's like, hey, I'm nice to an extent?
Nah. 100%. You could ask my wife, and she'll tell you many examples. But I'm a very big advocate as well, and I don't like when people get screwed over or are getting crapped on, whether that's at work or just in life. So that upsets me quite a bit, and I'm very, very willing to stand in the gap for those people, or stand in the gap for myself. If I feel like something's unfair or not right, then I'm more than happy to, just have a go. Or however that looks. One other thing that really upsets me is, like, when I say really upsets me, it actually ticks me off, is when I see our own people taking advantage of our own people. Like,
Jim, man, come on, Jim, come on.
That's different. I think because I love our people so much, I love our culture so much. I've only seen, like, through my parents, I've only seen the beauty of all those Pacific values. And I know we've grown up in church from our elders teaching us well. And then I see our people ripping us off. I get people, hitting me up for orders, and then come the day that they're not paying.
No.
Or if I'll never forget this one lady, and this has happened quite a few times, and I know it's my fault, I need better business practices, but this one lady asked for a 21st key, she paid her deposit, and then on the day she picked it up, and she pretty much cried to me and said, I'm so sorry, I know I was meant to pay, but I've only got half the money, can I please pay the rest tonight after the birthday, because we're going to get more money? And I said, of course, don't worry. She told me, man, I was praying on the way here that you would be graceful and forgiving, and like, you answered my prayer. She kept bringing up God, and being a Christian, I was like, you know what, it's my pleasure. And then that night came, I said, hey, just when you're ready to make payment, here's my account number. No reply, Next day, hey, just when you're ready, if you could please let me know. No reply. And then I think a couple of weeks went by, I continued that cycle, and I was having thoughts of exposing her on social media, but I was like, nah, better not. Surely she's going to come through. And then she blocked me.
Wow.
That kind of stuff, that really hurts me. And I've spoken out about it on my social media, and I've gotten a lot of backlash for it. People say, shouldn't talk about that. There's a lot of beauty in our culture. And I don't think anyone understands that more than me, but our people, we need to do better. It's becoming far too common. How many, even Pacific business owners, I think it's even worse when I hear our Pacific business owners are ripping off our own, because they would never do it to the Palagi customer that comes in, never do it to these other cultures, because they know they can get it. They know they can't get away with it with them. But when it's their own people, they might show up late. They might give a product that's not really what they agreed upon. That kind of stuff.
Man, Jim,
really
preach it, Jim, preach it. Also, I'm with you on that one, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And the sad part is when I speak up about it, the amount of Pacific business owners, small Pacific business owners that have reached out to me and shared their stories that are similar, it's very upsetting, because our people, we've been raised better than that. We should know better than that. So we shouldn't be doing that. And I think the reason why, I think upon reflection, I think the reason why they do it is because they know they can get away with it. Because we're such a small, tight community, everyone's connected. So if I might order something or order a service from someone, and then that person might get ripped off, but they're not willing to speak out about it because that might be their brother's, sister's friend. They're connected somehow, so they're not willing to compromise that relationship that they have with that person by outing that person. So it's easy to get away with it with our own people. They know that they're not going to get away with it from a Palagi, because that Palagi is going to hit them up, expose them, and rightfully so, you shouldn't be ripping anyone off. Right. But when it's our own people, they know, they're just going to talk, but they're not going to expose me. That's upsetting. I think our people, we need to do better. I know the cost of living is hard. I know it's not easy, but the answer is not to take advantage of our own. It should never be that.
100% also. Man, that's and to be honest also, and I find it quite disgusting also. To be honest, because we're a minority, and we just and we have our own people doing that to each other, and not just once but twice, and it's ongoing.
A pattern.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's been for years that we do this to each other, and we hate on each other. And if someone is doing very, very well, and straight away it's kind of like the crabs in the bucket. You can't reach. This is as good as it gets. The cap is over here. So let's just bring you back down. And so I agree. I 100% agree. And it shouldn't be the case. And you're right. If it was a Palagi, I'll make sure I pay and all that kind of stuff. But when it's our own people, and also reverse as well in terms of for a service. Let's say I'm getting a piece from you, and you kind of get that. Also, come on.
Yeah. So any discounts, cuz.
I'll make it in. But if it was a Palagi, it would be no, I'll pay the full amount.
Yeah.
And it should be the same thing. And if anything, it should be more, because we're supporting our own people.
Yeah.
And what is that, Jim? Because what is that kind of mindset why we do that? Obviously, you touched on because they think they can get away with it. No one's going to talk about it. No one's going to oust them. No one's going to expose them. And so, why do we do that? Because I know I saw one of your clips on Instagram. You talked about tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
Is that got to do something? Is that something to do with in the mix as well? Tall poppy syndrome, lokoleanga, all that kind of stuff, or is it just our people just think, you know what, I don't mind, I'll just do it to my own people. I think it's okay, and because no one talks about it, so it's okay.
Yeah, as much as I love our culture, there are definitely parts of it that are turning a bit sour, if I can be blunt. And I think
you can swear if you want to.
I think I really started seeing it when I did a year of recruitment work. I was a recruitment agent for a company called Draft NZ, working for an amazing boss, and I would have pretty much the core of our people looking for work were our young Pacific males, and they would come in and time after time they'd say, "Jim, so I really need a job. My wife's pregnant. Parents are struggling. If there's any jobs out there, I'll work." And I was like, sweet as, go find the first job out there for them. And then I get a call from the manager. Hey, where's your mate? What do you mean? Didn't show up for work. I was like, called him up. What happened? Sorry, slept in. Continue. And then a lot of them just not willing to work these tough jobs, or they might say stuff like, oh, I don't like that job. Any other job? Get them another job. Oh, any other job? It's like they want these really amazing jobs to start out with. And that kind of culture is starting to creep in a little bit. A lot of our, and it's very sad, a lot of our people are getting comfortable watching our Pacific elders work and support them, and it should be the opposite. It should be our young people who are strong and fit, working overtime, doing the extra hard yards so that we can take the load off mum and dad. And because that culture has crept in, a lot of our people are getting a bit lazy. They're looking for shortcuts. They're looking for people to exploit to ensure that their event goes through, even if they didn't have the money for it. They want to look really cool and get this cool carving, even though they couldn't afford it. And if they have a friend or a cousin that knows me and they can work around it, they're very crafty with it, and it's very sad. So yeah, jeez. I think our people are getting a bit lazy. And I'm not talking about all of our people. I'm talking about a small portion, but that small portion is giving a lot of us a bad rep out there. A lot of people, a lot of managers that I used to work with, they'll literally say, "Oh, no more islanders." I was like, "Damn." They would say, "No, I'd rather have Indians. I'd rather have these Palagi people come work to me because I know they're at least going to show up." Like, far out. And the sad thing is, when our people would show up, they would do an amazing job. They're good workers, but they just don't show up.
Yeah, no.
And they would come knocking on the door the next day, "Sorry, any other jobs?" And then they have the story again. It's like, far out. Come on, so what's going on?
Yeah, you can't be doing
What's going on?
But the cool thing about it, Jim, so they say, "Oh, no more islanders." Hey, it's a good thing I'm Palangi.
these islanders. Yeah.
It's bloody islanders, mate. Oh, mate, but it's alarming. It's alarming because, and it is very sad. It's very sad that you know, it seems like it's nothing new as well. So, you know, obviously when you're young, you do some silly things. If you know, as youngsters, as young adults. But there comes a time where you have to pick up the slacks and you have to pick up the reins and say, "Hey, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm not a little kid anymore."
Yeah.
And so, but it's quite sad. But you know what? I'm still stuck on that woman.
Yeah.
Bro, man. So, hey, you know what? Just what's her name? No, serious. What's her name now?
Do you know what's funny is we actually realized just from our analytics on social media and also just through the business, when we started talking about that, we started getting a lot more orders. And funnily enough, we understand that if we were to out these people, it would be, for the business, it would be a good thing. However, for us, we're just like, man, that's not the type of social media presence we want to have. Even though it would actually result in more followers, more money, more orders, we kind of made a decision, me and my wife, that we're not going to go down that route, even though we understand it's going to mean more orders coming in. That was quite tough. That's where we had to really look at the integrity of what we're trying to do, of what we're trying to build. Even though I feel like anyone that rips anyone off, if they get outed on social media, then that's their fault. But for us, we just decided that's not the, I guess, just the reputation that, or that's not the presence that we want to have. And because I think the reason why is, you know, myself included, people love drama.
Yeah.
So if you see someone planted on social media with their face and their screenshots, because we have plenty of screenshots of people who have ordered, because we saved all these receipts in case we wanted to start outing these people. Yeah. I've done it once, and that it resulted in that person paying straight away. They're like, "Hey, sorry, honestly, I just didn't see your messages." I was like, "Oh, are you sure?" So we did it once, and that post went viral. I think in 3 hours, I got about 1,000 likes, and people were commenting, blasting that person. So we have the potential to really blow up even more on social media if we just out these people. And it's still quite tough for us to stay committed to not doing that. Even though financially it would do good, from a business point of view it would do good. But for the values that we have and what we're trying to build, we decided not to. Yeah.
Good on you as well.
And honestly, it was my wife. Like when I say we, it was more my wife, because I was trying to convince my wife, like, you know what, like we'll get more orders. Stuff these guys, they're ripping us off. I worked so hard to do that. But my wife just told me, no, that's not that's not what we want to do. We don't want to build a business like that. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're always right, damn it. Yeah.
Oh, props to your wife, man. Because you and I'll be the same. I'll be thinking the same thing. You know, let's just call these guys out. Let's just call this person out. And especially from a business
side of things.
Sort of thing, you know, like, oh man, you can, you know, business, the revenue, oh man, the return on investment and so forth. Well, this is good for the business. But you're right. I think you hit it on the head in terms of people love
drama.
They love drama. They love drama. They love chaos. They love trolling, all that kind of stuff. Which is I don't know, which is quite sad. At times it is quite sad. But in terms of you and your business thus far also, and I can imagine the trolls. Tell us also how many of these people are coming out of the woodworks, so to speak, and say, "Hey, man, what is this carving? What is this?" and I can guarantee, because we get the same thing. You know, I think it's just part and parcel. When you put yourself out there, you're gonna get the trolls, you're gonna get the haters. So I think you touched on it on one of your clips on Instagram in terms of the haters and the trolls that kind of come your way.
Truthfully, I love it, eh?
You love it?
Yeah, truthfully. Because I honestly knew, when we got our first troll, me and my wife were celebrating. We're like, wow, we've made it. We're big enough now that people are starting to troll us.
What did that person say?
I think they said something about, like, your Palagi, like, stop talking about it. I was like, oh, we made it.
Oh, yes.
Look. Yeah, like, truthfully, I would love to just act like a victim so people feel sorry for me. But man, yeah, like I think because I've just been, I know what it is. Because I've been mocked so much throughout my life from my brother and sister, like they've really instilled some tough skin. So for these trolls online, like for me, it means nothing. I actually enjoy it. I love the creative ones. There's some comments that I see from people, I'm like, man, that was a good one. But it definitely doesn't actually affect me. I feel sorry for them. You know, one thing that I've actually learned is that most of the people that are doing the trolling, they're struggling. Not that I think that it's okay to bully online or troll, but the fact that they have nothing better to do but to go on these random posts and just start trolling, man, it must be a really miserable life you're living. So it genuinely doesn't affect me. It's very entertaining. So yeah, keep it coming. Yeah.
You know what you've done right now, eh, Jim? Those who are trolling, you're probably going to troll us after this. You probably pissed them off, like, oh, man. Or you probably get them thinking like, oh, it is true. My life does suck. Yeah.
It does.
Oh man. Also, it's just an incredible story. Obviously, your upbringing, your culture, your identity, and so forth, and also you're touching on your son with the autism, but the business, because it seems like your business is something that you're really proud of. You're proud of, and so to date, besides the business, what is one of the most proudest moments in your life, whether it be past, present, or maybe something that you're thinking about in the future? But what's one of the most proudest moments you've had in your life so far?
I hope they're okay with me sharing this, but when my dad finally retired, those mortgage payments kept coming in, and then my siblings got together and we decided to take over those mortgage repayments. And I think for me, like, that's always been the dream of mine, to take over the mortgage for my parents. Not so I can own the house, whatever happens to the house, I think me and my siblings will, that doesn't matter, but just to support mum and dad, and just to know that we've done well enough to be able to do that, and also take care of my own family, like, that's beautiful to me. And that's why I think, although, like, it's hard work, I can't stress enough how tough it is working a full-time job, running a business full-time. We put more hours into our business because the weekends we just solely working on the business. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but when you get to do things like, take over the mortgage repayments for your parents, what a blessing. Like, it's a blessing to be able to work this hard. So for me, that was just one of the proudest moments of my life, that we've been able to do that, and through something that's just so dear to our hearts as well. And I'm very grateful. There's many times, truthfully, where it starts to creep in, that victim mentality of me kind of feeling sorry for myself, going home and thinking, man, had a hard day at work, don't feel like carving. but I got 4 orders due and I got to get down to it. That victim mentality does start to creep in, and I have to just snap myself out of it so quickly, because it's a very dangerous road to go down. Because it wasn't that long ago that we didn't get 1 order a month. We'll be lucky to get a couple of orders a month, and we'll do anything for an order. Whereas now we can barely keep up. So that's a beautiful problem to have. So yeah, we're very, very blessed, very lucky, and the fact that we've been able to do that and also not be in debt, that's a big one for me. The fact that I'm able to support my friends when they're going through tough times, that's massive for me. The fact that I'm able to support my wife with her studies. I remember when she decided to go back to study, we had to pay for the first 2 papers. The fact that we were able to do that through the work of our carvings made me incredibly proud. So I think the fact that we can support our own family through this tough cost of living that we're going through right now, and we're also able to support our families, my wife's family, my family, it just means the world to us. Truthfully, I don't really mind if we never have a house, don't really care about having a flash car, don't really care about flash clothes or anything like that. The things that make me the happiest is genuinely giving back to our families. That there's no greater feeling to me. So I think that's been just the greatest, proudest moments of my life, is when our families really need the help and we're able to do that. It makes me feel good that all those hours, all that work that we've put in is going to the thing that I care most about.
I love also. The one thing that I it's quite a recurring theme. A lot of the guests that come on, Jim, is that as much as they do these amazing big things, and they're quite and they do amazing feats they have accomplished and so forth, but it always comes down to that one thing. And you said it. You mentioned it just like everyone else who have said this. I just want to help. I just want to help my family. I just want to help people because I just want to help people because I care for people. So man, it is incredible. And then you mentioned blessing. So I'm assuming, I don't want to assume that you are a man of faith.
Yes.
How much of your faith I know you mentioned you're a Christian. How much of your faith is evident in the work that you do, in terms of the mahi, whether it be working in suicide prevention or with young people, but also in the business? How much of that, in terms of your faith and your belief, is kind of, I guess, shown out there, or it's quite visible?
Yeah. Honestly, our faith dictates everything that we do. And I think that's why we made the decision to not out all those people on social media. Because even though financially it would do well for us, we just knew in our heart that we had the conviction from God that it's not the right thing to do. And even though if we try and lie to ourselves and be like, nah, it's they deserve it, it's not right what they're doing, we can make all the excuses, but if we have that conviction from our Lord and Savior that it's not the right thing to do, then we don't do it. And that's why everything that we do, we try and do it with integrity. Yeah, we've made some mistakes, but everything that we do, we carry those Christian values with us. So although we might not necessarily preach the word of Christ through our work, we hope that those values that we carry is evident in what we're doing. And every time I'm interacting with people, and that's why we're trying to be giving of everything that we have. If it's resources, if it's knowledge, we don't want to keep it to ourselves, because it's not my knowledge. It's not our resources. It's all temporary. But our faith isn't.
Yeah, I like it. I like it also. It is. I think that speaks more volumes than just people. You can go up there and say verse after verse and memorize all these verses and so forth. Oh my gosh, and oh man, he's well versed in the Bible and so much knowledge on the Bible and so forth. But it means nothing to me. It means nothing when you don't show it. Yeah. Or you don't live it. Yeah. And I love it that you live it through your art pieces and also your family and the work that you do. And I think that speaks. It's probably it's more louder in terms of when people see what you do. It's like, oh, okay. And especially you're a man of faith. Oh, okay. Well, I see God in that. Yeah. I see God in what He does. I see what He does, and it's something around His faith and His belief and so forth. It's powerful also. And so also, run through me in terms of how how you operate? What's the whole process in terms of the carving? Is there a trance? Do you blast music? Is there a certain ritual that you have to do when you're in that zone? Jim, walk us through it. Or what do you do? And what is it? Do you have a special? What do you call it? You call it
chisel.
Chisel, yeah, a special chisel that you would use to run us or walk us through what you do on a day to day.
Day in a life for me. Drop the kids off at daycare in the morning, go and do my full-time day job, pick up the kids, continue working my day job at home. Once that's finished, then I'll start carving. And my beautiful background noise is the YouTube kids. So my kids will be watching their YouTube. That's the noise that I get, and I get to listen to them. And then I'll just, whatever orders that we have, we'll carve it out. We're lucky that we're at a stage where a lot of the orders that we're doing, we've done before. So although people might be getting the same design, it'll always be different. There'll always be little inconsistencies because it's hand carved. But the hardest part of carving is not the process of actually carving it out. The hardest part is the design process. So I'm lucky that we're at a stage that a lot of the work that we do is pre-existing designs that people have seen and they say, hey, I really love that design. Can I get that design? It's like 100%. But if people say like, oh, can I get a new design, a custom design? That's the hardest part, is actually creating that new design, because we don't know if it's going to work well when we actually carve it out. We don't know that. It's just a lot harder, and we have to price those pieces a lot higher as well. So yeah, a day in the life, we just pick up the kids, come home from work, and then just carve until can't carve no more. Yeah, and sometimes that means it depends on our orders at the time. If we only have a few orders, we might get all of our pieces done and then start start some other orders or start working on other pieces. Even just finding the time to reply to all the messages, because we get so many inquiries every day, and that's a job itself. Sometimes I have to take time at like midnight, 1 a.m. A lot of these people are saying, oh, shucks, why are you replying at 2 a.m.? Sometimes it's the only time I have to actually reply to all those inquiries. Even finding the time to upload on social media, just that time is just the most valuable resource that we're struggling to find right now. We have so many ideas that we want to get to, but we just don't have the time. So that's a day in the life for us. It's not really, we don't really have a special ritual. It's just become a part of our life. And I think for me, that's why I feel just incredibly grateful that I can do this work with my kids around, with my wife there, with my family around me. That's a blessing in itself, because I know there are so many people working jobs that they don't want to work, but for families that they love. Those are the people that I have the most respect for. And I'll be willing to do that. There was a time that during COVID, we were getting no orders because all the birthdays had been cancelled. So no one was ordering 21st keys. No one was ordering birthday pieces because there was no events. And I also got made redundant from my job. So for that, I think for about 2 to 3 months, I was just digging concrete ditches. Oh, not concrete, but ditches where there was all these rocks, and it was tough work. Did that for about 3 months. Got offered a few construction jobs, and it was tough labouring work. And I was willing to do that for my family because we needed to eat. But that really gave me an appreciation for these people that go and day in, day out and do that every single day. Because I did it for 3 months and it was rough. There's people that have been doing that for 20, 30 years. I remember working at the fish factory during my semester break for about a week. And it was just lucky, it was just a week's work. That was probably the hardest week of my life because I don't like fish, but I just needed some money. And then there's people that have been there for 30, 40 plus years. And a lot of them didn't like their jobs. But they said, hey, my kids need to eat. So those times where I start to feel sorry for myself, I'm reminded of that there are people out there working these really tough jobs that they don't like, but for the families that they love. So what a blessing for me to work a job that I do like and start a business that I love doing and is also providing for my family. Yeah, it's hard, but man, it's so grateful that I'm able to do that. So hopefully that answered your question. I think I went in about 7 different directions.
Oh no, I appreciate it. It's good also, and it just shows the passion that you have, not only for your art and the carvings, but also for your family.
Mm.
It's really come out strong tonight in terms of your family, and your love for the people that surround you and so forth. Mostly your wife and your kids. Also, what's the number one thing you've learned so far in terms of business? What's the number one thing that you get, man, this is something that I didn't know, or something we're still working on, but man, this has been quite profound in terms of my learning, in terms of my journey in business.
You have to treat it like a business. That's one thing that a lot of people that have actually reached out to me for help, and I've sat down with them and we've worked through things. A lot of them, they think they have a business, but they're not treating it like a business. So for example, someone might be really passionate about singing, and they want to start a singing business, or they want to be a photographer, or they want to be a spoken word artist, and they want to do that as a business. I say, okay, so how do you monetize that? No idea. So, okay, the core of a business is it has to make money, and you got to treat it like that first. And if it's not that, then it might just be a passion project, and that's fine, but treat it like a passion project. If you're going to call it a business, you have to actually look at, okay, how do I turn this into profit? If it's a service, if it's catering, if it's security, how do I go out and get work to make it turn into some money in my pocket? If it's products, okay, how do I sell some units to actually get some money from it? And that's not because, I'm all about money, but what business should be is profiting and turning something that's either a need or a product that people don't have, and turning that into business, into money for yourself. So when you start understanding that and actually treating your business not like a passion project, but also like a business, things start to change. Your mentality will start to flip, and we need to start doing that, because so many. It's very sad, but I have an amazing accountant, and he works with so many different Pacific business owners, and a lot of them are making a lot of mistakes. A lot of them are not paying their taxes, or they're not treating their business like a business. Money comes in, goes out straight away. Then when it comes time to tax year, what was meant to be a good thing ends up being the worst thing that they could ever done, because all of that money that they need to now repay, and all of that business debt that they got to start their business, ends up just, ruining their lives financially. So you have to treat your business like it's a business. You can't treat it like it's something that you're just passionate about. That's cool, but if you're wanting to turn it into a business, you have to treat it like that.
Man, good advice also. Great advice as well. And so you've been in business for how long now, Jim?
So we've been carving and selling our work for about 10 years, but we've only been truly, I would say, operating like a business for about 3 years. And we've only got this level of growth, think about it, maybe a year and a half ago.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and like I would say, a little advice for any small business out there is you have to put your face to your work. A lot of people are they got their product, they're taking really nice photos of it, but people don't want to follow that. It might be a nice aesthetic photo or nice little video of whatever you're offering, but you got to put your face to it. People want to follow people, and even if it's catering, if you want to start a catering business, people don't just want to see the food. You might want to start videos that show how you're preparing the food, recipes, things that will actually interest people on social media, that'll gain attention to then lead to more, work. So, but you have to put your face on it. A lot of people are scared, I just want to be behind the scenes. You can't. You got to put yourself out there. And I know it's tough. I don't like doing it. I don't know anyone who genuinely likes putting themselves out there for the purpose of just putting themselves out there. So it's something that you have to actually just get over and give it a crack. I know it's very vulnerable. It's very scary, but people want to follow people.
Yeah, it's quite, people want their personal touch. It's quite personal. Yeah, no, that's good advice, man. Also advice. And so also because the great work that you're doing in terms of the carving, in terms of leveling up, are there some designs in the woodwork you're thinking, man, this is a design I want to challenge myself. I might try this design. Or has someone ordered something like, hey, I want you to do this. You think, oh man, this is a bit, I don't know, this might be just a little bit over the top, or it could be, man, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, no, man. Honestly, that question keeps me up at night, because we have so many things that we want to get done. We have so many ideas that we are confident will do well. Just trying to find the time to actually implement it is very tough. Like one example is Pacific earrings, hand-carved Pacific earrings. We know will do really well because we've had so many people request it. Can you carve our earrings for us? I mean, we've got our necklaces and they're very nice, but many people are much more interested in those earrings, and we can do it. right now it's just actually finding the time. Like I said, time right now is probably our biggest enemy, because when you have 5 orders, when you have 2 kids, when you have XYZ, then to try and find time to think about new products or scaling up, even though you need to, you can put it to the back burner a little bit. And that's the things that keep me up at night, knowing that there's things that I could do that would better the business, but not initiating that. That's the things that keep me up at night, because I know it'll be better in the long run, but to actually invest the time to do it, it's very tough. So yeah, there's so many things that we've actually written out. We've got plans in place to do it, but then we get sidetracked, then we get busy. So it's a good reminder for us that we can't stop where we're at when we know we can do more. If this was the best we could do, then that would be fine. But when we know that, we've just scratched the surface. I say that truthfully, this is just the beginning. There's so much more we could do, and we know we can. We just got to put the time in and actually do it. Intentionally do it. Yeah, exciting, but yeah.
Yeah, exciting, but scary at the same time, but it's but more so exciting, eh?
Yeah.
I like it because you said it's like you said early on. It is about timing sometimes.
Yeah.
Timing, and is this the right time? And so, have there been some designs people who have just kind of just out of the blue say, "Hey, Jim, this looks like a great idea. Can you do this?" And you think to yourself, "Certainly,
all the time, every day." We actually say no more than we say yes, because the last thing that we'd actually want to do is say yes for the purpose of making money. And we've been offered like a lot of money for these really tough projects, but if we're truthfully not confident that we can pull it off, then we won't take it. It's like, nah, like I said, I'm not a good drawer. So if I can't see myself actually pulling that off with the quality that we've really kind of just set for ourselves, then we won't take it. Would rather lose out on that opportunity than produce something that's mediocre. Or not to the standard that we believe. So yeah, we get all the time people saying, "Oh, can you do this? Can you add this face here? Can you add these patterns there? Can it be?"
What's been the most strange or what's the most weird? Like, oh my gosh, can you do this pattern or do this? What's
See, there's so many. Was it
the lady that blocked you?
We had this person ask us if we could carve. Like, it was just these random figures. And I don't know what those figures were, if they're just but she was willing to pay a lot of money, and we just said nah, because honestly, because I couldn't really understand what she was, and we went back and forth for quite a bit. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I think it's best if you actually look elsewhere for someone that can confidently do this." But I don't believe, and they're saying, "No, we believe you can. We've seen your work." It's just like, I appreciate that, but I don't.
It's good, man.
I'm not confident. So yeah, we like I said, we get it all the time, and even times where we think we could do a good job, but if we know we don't have the time to do it, sometimes we'll just say, "I'm so sorry, but we're just at max capacity right now." Yeah. Which is tough to do, because sometimes you'll say no to thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars, which honestly, hundreds of dollars is still amazing to us. The fact that we can make a few hundred on a piece that might take us a few hours to do, we think that's incredible. But there's many times we actually have to turn that down if we know we're just taking on too much. And if it means we're going to have no sleep and do a poor job at my day job, or like produce something that's not of quality because we're tired, then there are times where we'll actually just pull back and say, "So sorry, we can't do it." Yeah, we say no more than we say yes these days.
Jeez.
If I showed you I guarantee if I showed you my phone right now, we'll just be flooded with messages asking us if we can do all these different orders, and most of the time we'll be, "I'm so sorry." And that's why we need a website, so that we can stop just having those personal interactions all the time, because it just takes so long.
So what if you get I'm so sorry, $10,000?
Maybe.
I can do it. Oh, awesome, man. That's cool. That's really cool. I guess I'm really proud of what you're doing. And I know a lot of your family members are proud of the work that you do, and also your wife. Also legacy. And I always like to ask our guests in terms of legacy, and also the mandate in terms of your legacy. Obviously, what do you want to be remembered for? What does Jim Streton want to be remembered for when your time is done? Also, and so what's the legacy? But also, another question is, what does mandate mean for you as a man?
It's a really good question. If I'm being honest, my legacy stays with my family. I really don't mind if I am not seen in the community as this amazing figure. I aspire to be a great influence to my Pacific people and my young people, but I'm willing to give all of that up in order to serve my family. So if my legacy stays with just my parents, my kids, if my kids can remember me as a man who would do anything to provide for them, then I've done my job. That's all the legacy that I need. The last thing that I don't want to raise kids that just get anything they want, but I want them to see me working hard enough to provide whatever I need, not just for them, but for my family. So if they can see that and they understand that, and when they think of hard work, they think of their dad. If they understand what sacrifices by understanding what their dad did, that's the legacy that I'll be most proud of. So yeah, in the community, I'd love it if people are inspired by me, if more people are carving and embracing this Indigenous gift. That'll be incredible for me. But like I said, first and foremost, it just stays with my family, my kids. Yeah, in the same way that I owe everything to my parents, who have shaped every decision, every value that I have. That's the legacy that they've instilled in me. If I can instill that same legacy into my kids, also if they can look at me and that can be the example of what a great husband is as well, because that's what I look at when I see my dad, the most amazing husband to my mom. If they can think of that when they're thinking of me, then I think I've left a good legacy. I've done my job. So when I think of mandate, I think you just got to go. When I think of my mandate, it's looking at my values is family, and then doing everything I can to uplift those values, which is my family. A lot of people, they say they value one thing, but if you look at their lives, they're actually putting more time and attention into other things. So for me, if I'm actually saying this, I got to live by it. So that's a legacy for me. That's my mandate. So do anything I can for the love of my family.
Malo love Uso. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure, Uso. Absolute pleasure getting to know you a little bit more, Jim. And it has been a long time coming, because I remember we were driving. I think it was just before we're heading up Kevin's driving. Just before Kevin was driving, and then I remember I heard, "Hey man," I said, it's this James. I didn't even know your name, Jim. I was like, it's James Kirby. So I asked her, and my wife was in the car at the time. Yeah. She goes, "We need to get the Uso on. We need to get the Uso on." We finally got the Uso on. And yes, to the viewers and to those who are listening, yes, this is Jim Streton, not JS. His name is not JS. Jim Streton is on the podcast. And so, also, just maybe another question, just left field before we kind of finish off. Also, when you first saw your wife, Naomi, first saw her, obviously Miss Samoa. You said 2016, right?
Yep.
2016. You first saw your wife, Miss Samoa. What kind of song? What song? What song would play that vision? That vision when you saw her. What song would you choose? Oh man, the movies when you see a lovely woman, or you see a lovely wahine. There's always that song in the background. Like, oh man, this who is this woman? What song? Old school. Let's go over deeper. Let's go an old school jam that you would think, oh man, this is the song when I first saw Naomi.
It's got to be a Elvis Presley song. Do you know that I Can't Help Falling in Love? Oh, shucks, man. I just couldn't help it. I proposed to her after 3 months of dating her. I was in love. If I had the money, I would have bought a ring that next week, because that first date that we went on, I just knew. I was like, man, I don't know if she wants to, but this is the girl I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I remember, sorry to go left wing of your left wing. I remember when I was wanting to propose, but I had no money at this point. I genuinely prayed and I asked God. I was like, man, like, can you give me a sign? I've never asked God that before. I used to laugh at people that used to say, oh, can you give me a sign? If it's a man wearing a blue hat, then I'm definitely going to propose. I used to laugh at them. But I genuinely prayed and asked God. I was like, man, I want to propose, but I got no money. Can you just give me some confirmation that I should do this? The next day, I checked my bank account. There was $3,000 in there. Like, what the heck?
Hey, you're welcome.
The Mandate podcast. I said, I was confused. And I was like, well, what is this for? I called up my mate, David Ryan. I was like, bro, does you, because we were working the same job. I was like, did you get some money in your account? He said, yeah, that's our holiday pay. because we're relievers at the school, we get that at the end of the holidays because we don't get paid in the holidays. That's just our little payout that they give us. And I was like, you're kidding me. So this is my money. He said, yeah, bro, that's your money. Just went to Pasco's and bought a ring straight away. Went home, told my parents, showed them the ring, asked them what they thought. They said, go for it. So yeah, I couldn't help it, honestly. And still to this day, I'm just madly in love with her. And she knows it, and she can get whatever she wants. We got this beautiful business practice where I'll make the money, she'll spend the money. Because she knows whatever she wants. My favorite thing is just making her happy. I love the little moments that we share together. Any opportunity that I can show her how grateful I am for this business and this life that she's helped us build, I'll do it. And she knows it, and she plays on it big time, and she loves it too. But no, so that's my song. I just couldn't help falling in love with it. I still can't help it.
Well, I guess also because I think it's we'll try something different. I think your left wing. I'll be your wingman. I'll be your wingman also in terms of falling in love. And I love Elvis. I'm a big fan of Elvis Presley. And so also I don't know. Maybe we can sing it together. If you look at Naomi and so look at that camera right there, also, and we're going to conclude with a song. This is the first time I'm even doing this.
That's a lose 10,000 followers on my social media.
Hey, man. JS Carvings, man. JS Carvings. We're going to sing. Let's do it. Let's just try. I'm sure you have some. Well, you can sing.
I really can't. I'm a terrible singer. Man, I might be able to carve, but you'll never see a video of me singing.
So we're gonna try something different tonight. Jim and I, we're gonna sing. Obviously, Jim, you're dedicating this to Naomi. The love of your life. And so, Naomi, we're dedicating this to you. I'm dedicating this to my lovely wife. And so, how does it go again? Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. But before you keep singing and make me lose all my followers. Man, also, man, thank you so much, Jim. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love your great support as well. Also, what I gauged from tonight, very humble, very authentic. You love your family, very passionate, but also very, very talented. Also, very talented. And so I wish nothing but the best for you and your family.
Thank you so much.
And your lovely wife and your kids, and your endeavors in 2025.
I'd love also.
And also thank you for joining me. That's the first time we've ever done this in the last
first and last time probably. Yeah.
But hey, man, I just felt like the need. Like, hey, let's just do it, man. This guy's the man. And so also every guest that comes on, and from one artist to another. Also, I always do a caricature, I always do a cartoon of how we envision our guests to be. And so on behalf of the Mandate team, this is for you, Mosu.
Oh, thank you so much, Os.
Oh
man, my wife's gonna love this. So thank you so much.
Also, that's for you. Also, and thank you so much for your time, Jim. Is there? I always give it to the guest. The last words. Any last words of encouragement for our men out there, and for our boys or people in general? Anything you want to say and to share?
I just thank you so much for having me. Thank you for providing this platform for me and my family to just sit and reflect and be so proud of. And sorry, Caroline, if I could ask you to please just grab that little box under my amazing blazer over there. Yeah, just wanted to thank you guys for having us, and we've got a little something for myself that my wife helped me put together. So this is for you and Caroline. So
man,
you're always giving your art to people, so we wanted to kind of reciprocate and do it back for you. So this is for you, so.
Oh man, also thank you very much. Oh man, Mado, love you for.
Why not? Some free advertising.
Oh man, hey man, I got it from JS Carving, man.
Hyping it up, and then is this all?
Oh, sorry.
So in the box you got a couple of different necklaces for you and Betia. You guys didn't tell me Gideon was going to be here too, so gotta fight Gideon.
Oh man, look at this. Oh, look at this amazing talent, man. Oh.
And then if you hold up the two carvings, this just represents your wife, Caroline with the beautiful floral flower. And then you got the other piece that represents you, Petia. And they're very similar, but they're also uniquely their own. That shows that although you guys are on the same journey, you guys are still uniquely your own, but you guys are on that same path, supporting one another. So thank you so much. And if you look under it, there's also a couple of 2 blank pieces. And I challenge you guys to carve out a piece for each other. So you guys pick a date night. There's 2 chisels in there.
Oh, man.
Go watch some of my videos. I promise I'm not just trying to get some extra views from you two.
Bro.
And carve out a piece for each other.
Bro, we would do this. We would do that. Also, we will do it and we'll send it to you and see what you think, Jim. But, man, thank you very much, also. Thank you to your lovely wife. Man, what a talent. And thank you so much. Oh, mate. Yeah, and you know what? Also, and I'm not being, you're the very first guest. Would Jim be the very first guest in terms of giving us a gift? Oh, yeah. In terms of, I said also, man, malo lovely soi fu also for tele love moro taimi also. Alofatu moro ainga. And also, thank you very much. Ah, man, this has been an amazing night tonight. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please check out if you haven't checked it out already. JS Carvings, Jim Streton. Man, look at the work speaks for itself. Look at this, the handicraft of this amazing man. JS Carvings, check him out. And once again, thank you very much for listening and viewing. Jim Streton, JS Carvings.
Tell